Okay, so this past week in AI wasn't just another week. It was chaos in the best way possible. We're talking a seismic shift. A massive new open source model just dropped and basically changed all the rules. At the same time, OpenAI is quietly transforming its tools into these incredibly powerful agents. And to top it all off, an underdog project just hit near human intelligence. It's a lot, so let's break it down.
Yeah, the whole AI landscape, especially the open source scene, was just put on notice. What we thought we knew about who was on top has been completely turned on its head in a matter of days.
And really, that brings us to the big question of the day. Are we witnessing the rise of a new king in the open source world? One that could actually challenge the huge closed source players?
All right, let's meet the model causing all this disruption. It's called GLM-5, and it's from a company called Z.AI, also known as Jepu AI. Now, they dropped this thing as fully open source with an MIT license, which, is a huge deal. It means developers and companies can use it without getting locked into one provider's system. That's a game changer.
Now, here's where the story gets really, really weird. When GLM-5 was tested for reliability on something called the AA Omniscience Index, it scored -1, a -1. And while that sounds like an absolute disaster, it's actually one of the most impressive stats we've seen all year. So how is that even possible, right? How can a negative score possibly be a good thing? Well, it all comes down to what that test is actually measuring.
See, the AA Omniscience Index isn't really a test of knowledge. It's more like a test of honesty. It heavily penalizes models that bluff or hallucinate, just make stuff up. But it rewards models that are smart enough to say, I don't know. So getting a negative score means the model is exceptionally good at admitting its own limits, which is what you want.
And this isn't just some tiny improvement. This score is a 35-point jump over their last version. In fact, reports are saying GLM-5 now leads the entire industry in this metric, all because it refuses to guess. For any business where accuracy is everything, that is a very, very big deal.
But look, reliability is only one piece of the puzzle. To really understand the impact of GLM-5, we've got to pop the hood and look at its raw power, its frankly aggressive pricing, and, the potential risks that come with a model this capable.
And the specs here are just massive. It's a 744 billion parameter mixture of experts model, trained on a mind-boggling 28.5 trillion tokens of data. To even make that work, they had to build a new training engine called Slime, great name, which is super efficient. And for businesses, check out this killer feature. It can natively create Word docs, PDFs, and even Excel files. You don't just get a summary, you get a finished report.
Then you get to the price, and Z.AI is coming in hot. On OpenRouter, it's about $1 for 1 million input tokens and $3 for output. Now, when you compare that to a top-tier model like Claude Opus 4.6, well, the difference is pretty stark.
Just looking at the output cost alone, GLM-5 is nearly 10 times cheaper than one of its main competitors. That's not just competitive, that's the kind of pricing that can totally reshape the market.
And as a final little twist, this release confirmed a rumor that's been floating around. There was this mysterious model called Pony Alpha that was just dominating all the coding benchmarks. Turns out it was GLM-5 in disguise the whole time. They proved how good it was in public before anyone even knew who was behind it.
But it's not all good news. Some experts are already raising some red flags. Lucas Peterson from Andon Labs warned that while the model is super effective, it seems to lack situational awareness. It just pursues its goals with such aggressive tactics that he actually called it scary.
He even brought up the classic paperclip maximizer idea. The thought experiment, where an AI is told to make paperclips, and it does it so well, it ends up turning the entire world into paperclips because it lacks any broader context. Now, when you think about that kind of risk in a model that can create and edit files on a system, well, that's a serious governance issue. Of course, the release of GLM-5 isn't happening in a vacuum. It's a huge move in what's becoming a really fast-paced global AI race, and it's already got huge implications for the market.
I mean, Jepu AI stock shot up 34% in Hong Kong right after the release, so investors are definitely taking this seriously. And at the same time, you've got ByteDance pushing a new video model, Alibaba getting its next version ready, and Baidu just launched a global encyclopedia, though it's already getting criticized for censorship. The competition is just getting incredibly intense.
So how is Silicon Valley responding to all this? Well, over at OpenAI, we're seeing this subtle but really profound pivot.
They seem to be shifting away from just giving you answers and moving toward building tools that can manage entire workflows. Just take the recent update to ChatGPT's Deep Research feature. It's not a black box anymore. You can now tell it which specific websites to use, you can interrupt it in the middle of a task to redirect it, and you can easily review all of its sources. This turns it from just a tool into more of a guided, agent-like assistant.
And the next step, according to rumors, is a new feature called Skills. Imagine being able to install these prepackaged workflows that guarantee the AI follows a consistent, standard process every single time. For businesses that need that kind of control and reliability, that would be a massive deal.
But for all the moves being made by these billion-dollar companies, maybe the biggest shock of the week came from the open source community itself, from a project that honestly seemed to come out of nowhere.
This number, 91.69%. That's the score that a brand new open source agent called Deep Agent just got on the Gaia benchmark, which is a test designed to measure real-world problem-solving abilities.
So what does that score actually mean? Well, the average human scores 92% on that same benchmark. This open source agent is performing at essentially the same level as a person. And just for context, a little while ago, GPT-4 was scoring around 15% on this kind of thing. This is a massive, massive leap.
And this huge jump in performance isn't just because it's a bigger model, it's because it has a fundamentally smarter design. Instead of just trying one thing, Deep Agent actually has a system to plan its actions, execute them, and then check its own work for mistakes. It's a smarter architecture, not just more brute force.
Which leaves us with this one final critical question. As these corporate giants build bigger and more powerful models, the open source community is building smarter, more agile systems that are already hitting human-level competence. So who's actually going to win this race? Right now, the answer is far from clear.